Alrighty. Can everybody hear me? I hear me. Uh, Unless, of course, uh, uh, God, this drives me crazy. There can't just be a button on there somewhere that says go live. Hmm. Because this is. God, this is annoying. Let's pour close caption. Okay. I don't care about any of that. Okay. Uh, Okay, so all right, so I'm here. Timestamps. Now, I have no idea how the screenshot. I don't do. Uh, the other thing is, why am I back? That is especially annoying. Okay, so YouTube, when you set up a live stream, especially if you're trying to use it, do it, do such with a webcam instead of a normal. Pardon me. Instead of a some live stream or I'm sorry, like with an OBS or one of those things, which I don't have. Um, there's not just a stupid. I got to take this off because it's driving me crazy. Some kind of latency issue interface. I don't know what it is, but it's driving. It's been. I got to hunt that down later, I guess. But anyway, there is just a button on there that says go live, and I think I'm actually setting up the same live stream, scheduling and setting up the same live stream two different places, and it is for what YouTube's got to make it as difficult as possible for some reason, and you guys need to fix that like yesterday. uh so anyway, oh, get that off. So happy Sunday, everybody. We are hanging out here on Sundays as we always are, and yeah, you know, always enjoy coming on here and hanging out with you guys. I got a couple of things that I thought I might chat about here as time permits, but I see several of you guys have all jumped on board here as well. And Andrew Conkney, first one in, says, "Hey, Robin, your opinion is a great playing neck or good sounding pickups more important?" I think they're equally important for two different reasons. Obviously, playability is important, but if it sounds terrible because it's got lousy pickups in it, I don't care how good it plays. And conversely, it can sound great, but if it plays absolutely horrible, that's equally as or more uninspiring. You know, so I'm not going to. I don't anymore. I don't pick up, a guitar and say, say I could swap out the neck or I could swap out the pickups on this. Everything else on this fine. I mean, it's a time. By the time I get done doing that, it's I might as well have just spent the money on the guitar that I wanted in the first place. So yeah, that's my take there. There's something like this. I don't know if you guys can see it or not. No, you guys can't, but like my BC Rich, my ASM Pro, most of my BC Rich guitars, actually, but that one, pardon me, whew, particularly the ASM Pro is just a magnificent feeling playing guitar. And it's got, I'm not, I'm not the biggest EMG guy in the world, but but I do, I like them. I like them all enough. that I do sometimes, which is what that guitar had in it. So, I mean, it was just kind of the best of both worlds. Had that guitar had cheap pickups in it, I probably wouldn't have bought it, unless it was a really good deal. I probably wouldn't have bought it, just, save the headache, same thing with my Schecter, the blackjack that I use in most of my videos, that equally as well. Um, I bought that one for its versatility, though, not just playability, but tone wise. See, hmm. Joe Hervey, hey. First notification link had no, yeah. Yeah, like I figure out what how this live stream thing works. I'll figure it out one of these days, but it's not going to be today. Let's see. Do I need to turn down? I am using a different microphone today. Still too much. Check, 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 check. Is that any better? Okay. I'm using a different mic today. I decided to get away from the Blue Snowball. Sounds great, but what I discovered after using it for a while is that it's within like control panel, my computer is constantly back and forth over where it's supposed to be accepting the audio, be it the USB, the USB microphone, is it the focus right, is it the, it's constantly back and forth, and it was just called way too. So finally I decided, screw it, I'm gonna just go. I've got condenser mics all over the place, grab one of those. Matter of fact, this one's brand new. This is the first time I'm using this mic box. So I put it up here on the boom arm, and we are going to rock with this one for a little while and tell the computer that everything's in place now. So, let's see. Bam Mozzie says, I don't play guitars unless they sound and play great. I agree completely. No time for it, no interest. And, I went through that phase there where I was, where I was kind of modifying guitars and pickups and, upgrading tuners and, and all that kind of stuff and all that. No, you know, I did that for a while, and eventually, I got real old real quick, and you know, I would rather just spend my money once, get what I want, and call it a day. Red Bellow says, "Are you a biker?" Uh, my wife, for the longest time, I wanted to get a Harley, and uh, it wasn't too long after, I guess my wife and I'd probably been dating for about 6 months or so, and and I kind of floated that by her, and she kind of looked at me. She kind of got this deer in the headlights look on her face, and I said, "What?" She said, "You're kind of clumsy. That scared." And I said, "You." And that was the end of that conversation. We've never brought it up again since. So I am going to be I'm probably never going to own a motorcycle because she had a very, very good point. Mm. I forget set up in Fred Joe. She's my number one. Oh, cool. Andrew says that a lot of new guitar that turned out had Texas specials in it that he wasn't expecting, and now he's got a new number one guitar. Cool. Texas specials are man. Let's see. Anybody ever just use your webcam and built-in microphone? And the that question's from Janice Lala. Um, the reason why is because I mean, I am using just a regular webcam for video, and but that would be temporary. Here one of these days, as soon as I get some, get a capture card, and I'll get into that in a minute. And a few, but capture card and a few other things. I actually want to be able to start doing these live streams with my DSLR camera because, as you can see from the video quality, it's terrible, and I hate it. Um, but I think I paid 30 or 40 bucks for it, and that's what you get. Um, you set video quality for convenience. Um, regarding audio, if I were to use the webcam does have a built-in microphone on it. If I were to use that, it'd be the same, same problem. It's a terrible, it'd be like using a microphone on a cell phone like that. They're not meant for any kind of professional, any kind of, realistic use, even what I'm doing here. So, they're just way too compressed. Um, way too compressed, and like I said, and I don't want to do that. I prefer to be heard loud and clear, especially if I have the equipment to be able to do so. And more importantly, uh, I think it's definitely a much better experience for the view, which is that's the end run that I'm going for here anyway. I want to be able to I want people to be able to enjoy my life. And you know with me, for the most part, sitting here answering questions, and I've actually been spending the last hour and a half or so messing with these virtual amps, because I would like to be able to do some guitar playing during a few of these every now and again. That was my hope to do that today, but it didn't work out anyway. But my you guys take your time, take time out of your lives to come hang out with me for an hour or so on Sunday, and for me to sit here and answer questions, which I really really enjoy doing. But I will be able to offer the best live stream experience for you guys, more than anything. So hopefully that answers your question. Red Bella says, tell everybody to caps lock for questions. You guys can, if you would like. At this point, we only got 12 people in here at the moment, and it's moving slow enough that I'm more than not easily, very easy to keep for me to keep up with. So if it starts moving real quick, some of these guys, like I'm here. I'm waiting for the alert from Pete Thorne here any minute. When his live stream starts on Sunday, and he's got between around 500 to 1,000 people on his live stream, and his chat moves a little bit quicker. um Mine fortunately is a little bit slower at this point. I'd like to be able to get to that level, but I'm not there yet. um barely want to text my wife. Mm. Mm. Okay, now let me see if I can talk timestamps. Interesting. Okay. There's all kinds of weird stuff in this chat thing that I haven't figured out yet. What I do need to figure out is how to pause for just a quick moment or two or three. Yeah. All righty. DJ Yaziev says, ever had to significantly downsize on gear before? I've been very fortunate that the answer to that question is no. And, uh, I've, to be honest, I still have just about every, I still own just about every guitar I've ever owned. There's a few that I've sold or traded off or whatever, and moved on, and I don't regret doing that with any of them. Some of them, some of those, there's one or two of them that I was just there's a few more that I just never bonded with. There was, a few of them, in there that I bought specifically for the purpose of flipping. Which obviously I never intended to keep them anyway, and that was it. Same thing with there's one. If there's one amp that I do wish I still had, and that was my Blue Voodoo. I had a Crate Blue Voodoo 120 half stack, and I wish I still had that thing. Is awesome, but I got the offer that I got was way too low or way too high, too much to turn down. So bear with me one moment. You can come out, babe. Huh? Time out. Be right back. Okay. All right, sorry about that, guys. Let's see. Where are we? Oh yeah, downsizing gear. Yeah, no, I've been fortunate. I've never had to do that. So I'm also one of those people. I don't buy anything if I don't have the money for it. So I mean, there's uh, I mean, just plain and simple. So let's see. What do we got here? Turkey Trail Honey Bee Farm, Georgia. Micro stereo pedal board and 9-volt amps. Not sure what you're referring to with that. Um, I don't know if you're asking what my favorites or any of that stuff. I have no idea. Please be more specific. Any more issues with those enchiladas? I never had any issues with my enchiladas. They were delicious. Uh, Matter of fact, I may make them again here today, but I haven't decided yet. Carl Jackson has joined us. Joe says you got Joe Herb says you got you on any pedals. You get again. I don't know what you're talking about. Turkey Trail Honeybee Farm Georgia says, "What are your thoughts on the TC electronic mimic pedal? I think I want one. Do I? Whether or not you want one, of course, that's on that's your decision. The mimic is cool if you're running a stereo rig. If you are running it mono, it is barely noticeable. Um, Barely noticeable. So it's probably not going to, uh, like I said, in a mono rig, it doesn't do a whole lot. Stereo rig is where it's at, from my understanding. So if you are going to get the mimic, make sure you're running it in a stereo rig, and I think you will be very pleased. Hmm. Although RJ just disagreed with everything I just said. So, and he has a rig to just prove me wrong. So, Christopher Townley says, "Hey Robert, good to see you again. Thank you, sir. Same to you." For damage effects. Oh, you got your eye on any pedals? So, uh, yeah, I mean, there's a few of them that I would. I suppose if there's one that I really wanted, it would be the Amp Tweaker Big Rock Pro. That's if I were, that's probably the one that I want. I've seen a few used ones pop up, but I haven't been all that thrilled with the price on them. Just haven't done much with them. I mean, beyond that, I mean, I just don't need anything. A couple of other like preamp pedals that I've got my eye on, but you know, as well as the Moore Radar cab sim pedal. That one's got my attention. So I guess there's a few things. So, but none of those. I don't think any of those are going to happen here right away. uh, Turkey Trail Honeybee Farm Georgia says review micro rig. Yeah, that's a tough thing to do, man, because I mean, there's so many micro pedals out on the small micro sized pedals out on the market nowadays. God, that's a really that would either make for a real long video or a very one-sided biased video, because obviously it's just it's what I would build for myself. you know that's a tough one to do, to be honest. So unless I were going to do something like that for my own enjoyment, and sometimes I do videos like that, but um Generally speaking, that's a tough video to do. As it would be, kind of caters to, really the only person that video would cater to would be me. Um, Red Bell says, Robert, I bought a Helix. Now the thing replaced all my analog pedals in front of my tubing. So I'm using digital modeling and analog tube amp, but I feel guilty not using analog pedals. Yeah, I haven't. I'm probably not going to go the Helix, just because it's, me and processors don't get along because I hate programming those things. You know, they're the technology inside of better and better. They're sounding better and better all the time. But the Helix especially sounds great. But I the thought of programming that thing just absolutely, it makes me want to puke. uh, and the other thing with that is, one thing in that thing goes down, so that everything else in your rig. So, if my delay goes out, I can live without that for a bit. So, just my opinion. Christopher Townley says, "Have you checked out the Black Star 2 pedals? They sound pretty nice." I have. Well, of course, they've been out for a long time now. Actually, most of them I think are discontinued now. But what was the H, I think, which was the 2 channel overdrive pedal they did. That one was my favorite. That's a great pedal. Um, the thing about that series that I really don't like is that they all run on that stupid 16-volt power supply. It's their proprietary power supply, works with absolutely nothing else. So, and that proprietary thing is huge too. I mean, it's a big brick. It's not the most pedal board friendly thing in the world, but they do sound good. Mm. Are you guys able to hear me okay? I thought I had it turned up enough, and any higher than this, flipping on me. So, because Guitar Noise says, "Can you turn up the volume? 66-year-olds can't hear you." My volume is up fine. Let's see. What's the Andrew Congy says, "What's the best pedal deal you've ever gotten on a stomp box?" DS140. He says, "Mine is a DS 40th anniversary mint in box for $10 a yard sale." Hmm. Best deal I ever got on a pedal. Probably the most recent, really, really good deal I can think of was I think I paid like $120 for my amp tweaker Type Metal Pro. Um, it's the full size version, but the store I bought it from had bought it in thinking it was the standard version, not the Pro, and had it been a standard, it would have priced accordingly, but it wasn't, and I grabbed it, and that's now been the best pedal I've ever owned. So I'm never getting rid of that. Was the reason why I want a big Rock Pro, which is the rock distortion. So, I mean, Black Star is the HT Club distortion. Great sound. Replaced my orange colored DS1. A bit low on close to the mic was better. Okay, well, alrighty. So, oh, what I wanted to talk about today was, the way that the big boot about this, because I had a chance to meet with I was in a on product training the other day for earthquaker devices, and great pedals, great build quality pedals. They're and even they admit this. They're kind of the Quaker devices are kind of the weirdos of the pedal industry. Um, because those pedals do some really weird, crazy stuff, and uh, not particularly my thing because I'm not the most ambient guy in the world. I like my effects to be much much simpler, but that's what they do, and that's why they are as revered and respected as they are. But it got me thinking about the big companies, the bosses, TC Electronic, those companies, Boss in particular. I really, really, really like the way that Boss have remarketed and they're remarketed their entire line and brought out some newer versions of these designs that they've been that they've already had for decades now. And like the well, they'll take the watercraft for example. I'm surprised they didn't come out with that sooner. But really the entire watercraft line altogether, it matter. In the was it the X series, it has like the OD1X and the DS1X and stuff like that. Those companies have just said we've already kind of designs, we don't need more. Um, so we're just going to improve on the ones that we got and price them accordingly. And that's how we are going to compete with the boutique market. And I think Boss in particular, have done a marvel with that, because I mean, I've always been a Boss fan, but, um, the stuff that they're putting out now is every bit as good as the high dollar boutique stuff. So, they did do the, by the way, with JHS, with the Anger Driver, and I really, really want one of those because that's one of the coolest overdrive slash distortion pedals I file. And I like the different modes that you can select on it. It's got like 7 different configurations or something like that. I can't remember, but I mean it's a little size stomp box. It does a lot. It sounds really, really good. So. That's another pedal I think I would really have, is the Angry Driver. If I had one of those, I'd get a lot of use. Red Bella says, I must ask, what about boutique amp versus equivalent production line amp? Well, I mean, that's another one of those things that, I mean, again, kind of well, I don't know. It's hard to say because boutique amps. Most of them are made. Most of them are going to be American made. There's some import stuff like the Panamas, and then they're made in obviously Panama instead of China. But like the American made boutique stuff. I mean, it's those are that's a little bit tougher market because I mean though again those a lot of those are still well into the $3 grand territory. It's not like there's there are some, but there's not very many of those things that are being made overseas at affordable price. Versus Marshall. You can still buy a brand new JCM 800 for what's one what are those things running out? 22.99 or something like that. Um, Fender Twin Reverb is still 99, 15.99. Uh, Box AC30s, 1,000, 1,200 bucks, depending on which one you get. Um, it's that's a to break and the thing with the boutique amps, most of them aren't really coming out with anything that most of them are clones of other amps out there, or inspired by. So, you gotta remember, back in the 2000s, everybody was coming out with their version of a rectifier, something or other, because the dual rectifiers were defining the was the amp that was defining the decade, in my opinion. So of course is doing all of this. Mesa's doing all this, doing all this business with the this rectifier on it, so everybody starts, coming up with their version of, of an amp with that sound. So, you know, I don't, I prefer if it's, USA, if it's a big brand or boutique or whatever it is, I just want it to be well made and sound good. So one of the, those are, and both of those are equally as important. And it drives me crazy that a great sounding amp is unreliable. Hmm. RMG 471 says, Robert, love your shows, man. You're doing great. Keep it up. Thanks, man. I appreciate it. Hopefully the live streams will get a little bit more entertaining one of these days. Park Kingery says says surprises release the HM2. I think they probably will, just because of its recent popularity. But that one's really only gotten popular again in the last, really just the last few years. You know, 10 years ago, if you handed anybody an HM2, you know, I don't think many people that would have been interested in it. That's a really, I mean, it's not a good sound of distortion. So, death metal guys made it work, but RJ says that this coming Tuesday that you were going to be a guest on someone's live stream. Yes, as a matter of fact, it is the Guitar Hack is having me on here Thursday evening, 7 p.m. Eastern time. So make sure and tune in to his channel on again Tuesday. That would be March 26th, I believe, at 7 p.m. So he is going to catch me in the car. So I'm going to be doing that one on my cell phone because I will likely be on the way home from work, but that's fine. I've got an old DSL 40. Well, DSL 40 hadn't been out that long. Came, but Timothy Lynch says I've got an old DSL 40 and a Dr. Z. They're both great, although you can definitely tell the difference. Well, I mean, those are. I mean, I think all the Dr. Z's are hand wired, and I mean, most of the Dr. Z's don't have any more than 3 or 4 knobs on them. So they, versus the PCB designed DSL 40. So, but yeah, those are both great amps. Pardon me. I recently bought an ABY pedal and discovering playing through 2 amps at once. Discovery Boss Katana 100 combined Bleach Junior. The neighbors hate me. Yeah, I was getting into the stereo rig thing there for a while, and a little while anyway. I did a video on an ABY box. That same situation. I did a video on an ABY box a while back, just for kicks, and kind of discovered this. Pardon me. We kind of discovered that this rig thing is actually kind of cool. If you have the gear to run it through, and it has its advantages, but it also it's also twice as much stuff to mess with. So I mean, I kind of and the other thing I found out is that it's they're temperamental. ABY boxes are real temperamental. You change out a pedal or something like that, and I can throw the entire thing out of whack. So so I went back to my good old fashioned mono rig, and I mean, I'm fortunate I have enough amps that I kind of have the luxury of choosing which one I want to play through, for one situation or the other. But so You know what else I have discovered this week is that building an actual live stream rig is not nearly as easy as I expected it to be. I kind of thought that I watched some videos on some webcam stuff and various different things. Kind of figured it wouldn't be all that difficult, and then I get this particular. I got a window on this side of me, and then this thing on. Okay. Anyway, but so there's actually a lot more that goes into it than I expected, and you know, um, for apparently I need something called a capture card, and no, I don't smoke. I don't smoke pot at all. It's just an e-cig. Um, but apparently there's something out there that I need called a video capture card if I want to be able to use one of my good cameras. So because like I mentioned earlier, I would like to be able to do my DSLR, because they are much easy, much more light sensitive, and those adjustments can be made a lot better. So anyway, because I'm reading the chat as I'm talking here, so um, but I am going to need a capture card as a few other components, and we've got there's a big electronics play a big electronics store here, Fry's Electronics, and even the folks at Best Buy told me that a capture card I'm gonna need to go to Fry's. So I go to Fry's, figure out where the capture card, go back there to that neighborhood, and um, sure enough, there is a full section about as tall as me, and about 4 feet wide, where the capture cards are supposed to go. And they have like two, and the rest of them are the rest of those shelves are all bare. And the guy says, "No, we just haven't gotten any more capture cards in." So that will be the last time I go there for a capture card. So I'm doing some more research online, and some guidance from my friend Techie Tony, Tony Ramsey, because that dude knows everything. And yeah, try exactly what he said. So that's what I'm gonna do, and hopefully I can get that part straightened out. Let's see here. Timothy Lynch says, "LOL, my DSL 40 is 6 years old now." Yeah, and that's that was the original DSLs out in the maybe even late 90s, early 2000. It was basically you had the DSL 50 and the 100, full heads, and those when they were still made in the UK, great amps, love those amps. Marshall discontinued, and then they re-released them like literally like 2 years later, called them a reissue. As the exact same thing. Even A beat them, an old one, with a new one, um, right next to each other. And I mean, sound wise, I couldn't really tell the difference. Uh, but so when you said old, I was thinking it was from that series, um, not the one, because when they re-released them after that when they were now being made overseas, that also included like the 40 and the 20, and the smaller combo size ones as well. Yeah, RJ saw that picture of the my trip to Fry's Electronic the other night. Uh, yeah, hopefully they saw it. I even sent it to them directly, posted it on their Facebook page, but I never got a response. I may have deleted the link, so for all I know. Let's see. Patrick Cal Robert. Hey, buddy. How are you? Hmm. Speakers, considering a speaker swap soon. What kind of speakers in it? I can't remember what came in that one. Celestion something rather than Gross Fatality ever played on now? NAU. My dad knew the guy. He was an amp repair. I'm not familiar with him. I've never even heard of him actually. So I can't say that I have. You know, not familiar with him at all. 57 Red Bellow says, "Have you seen the 57 Custom Champ?" I was thinking on getting that amp. Have you seen? Um, no, I'm not much of a Fender combo guy. You know, I mean, I like the twins, and I like the deluxes, and I like the Princetons. I mean, I like them all just fine. You know, they're great clean amps. I can never use a Fender for any kind of a gain amp, with the exception of the Supersonic. That one I would really like to have, but they're just they just for the most part, I'm just not a Fender guy. I'm not a Fender guitar. I like Strats and Tellys as much as anybody else. Love Strats really, but I'm not a Strat guy. I'm not a Fender guy. With amps, I'm not a Fender guy. Rather have a Marshall, or a Vox, or for honestly for clean channel, JC 120. Just my opinion. So, um, yeah, Supersonic 100. That's a great head. Great head. I've first one of those I ever played was the 60, the 112 combo, and I fall in love with that amp ever since. I don't know why I've never bought one, but um, I'd love to have one. They're great. Let's see. It's got the okay. Hmm. Yeah, I do. What is the other one? The small little ones I use. The Pro Junior. It's technically it's in the Hot Rod series. It's the really really little one, the one below the Blues Junior. I think it's the Pro Junior. Um, a lot of Fender guys really seem to like those amps, man. I mean, it just sounds really boxy to me. Again, it's just not my thing. Just not my thing. Nothing wrong with them. Just not my taste. So I've got this add inserted button, and I think what that is just now occurring to me. What I'm doing is, whenever anybody goes back and watches the rerun, if you will, live stream of this, it is going to be riddled with ads because I've been clicking it like crazy. Oh well, why not? Let's see. Run 20. I haven't played I don't even know if there's a combo version of that or not, there is I have played through a couple through the head. I believe, at least I think it was the Run 20. I can't remember. Um, but yeah, Friedman's a great amps. Friedman make they make fantastic amplifiers. I wish they would get away from the, all their amp models are, the names of most of them, but um, not real thrilled with any of them. I don't love them. But uh, I guess it's part of the sense of humor thing, kind of like the whole uh, Steel Panther pedal line. Anyway, RJ the Mad One says I have to head out to chat later. Have a great day. I think I am going to follow you out the door, sir. So we are coming up here on an hour. 1 hour, which is about all the time that I have. So, those of you that stop by, thank you so much for doing so and hanging out. And, we will do this again here very, very soon. So, au revoir.